Welcome to Proven Not Perfect, the podcast for ambitious women who are building meaningful careers and living full, purpose-driven lives. I'm Chantra Powell. After more than 30 years of leading globally in top corporations, I've learned this truth. Real success isn't about perfection. It's about progress, purpose, and showing up whole. Each week, I sit down with powerful women who have mastered their impact across careers, business, and leadership, while navigating faith, family, service, and self-care along the way. This podcast is for you if you're looking to be motivated, challenged, or supported. Whether you're thriving where you are, pivoting into something new, or stepping into your next season of impact. Here, we spark ideas, we challenge assumptions, and we grow together. Because success isn't about doing it all, it's about showing up whole. This is Proven Not Perfect. Tanya.
Hey, my sister.
Hey, girl, welcome.
So good to see your beautiful space.
I tell you, honestly, the opportunity for you and I to sit here together in the village is incredible and amazing, and I believe ordained.
Yeah.
If you're hearing this conversation, there is something for you to receive straight to your heart. Period. End of story. Because I'll tell you, and everybody probably has these people in your life. There's certain people that when you are so aligned to perfectly connect to, when it happens, it's combustion. It just is. It's not quantity, it's quality. And that's me for you, you for me, for sure, Tanya. Thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. You know how much I love you, how much I admire you. I know
Amen.
This work is more than just professional.
Amen.
I know it's spiritual for you as well, for all of the folks you've undergirded as you've walked in purpose with proven but not perfect. So I count it an honor. I put my right hand over my heart. I count it an honor.
Look, both for me. All right, we're jumping in. Tanya. So first of all, on top of being an inspired woman of God who I know also brings such purpose and intention to the words you speak, the moves you make, I know this. You have a brilliant business mind. And for so long in my career, and I'd be curious to know, kind of filing back to the beginning for you, there was this self-inflicted requirement that I kept the two things separate because I wasn't sure how to show up with both of them in tow overtly. Now what I mean, I never dismissed my faith and my spirituality, never dismissed it. But I never felt like there was space to hold it up in the office as the banner that was with me every moment, right?
Yeah.
There might have been little facts, but it had to be subtle.
Yes.
So is that something that you dealt with too? Because I believe that a lot of people wonder how to bring that level of authenticity, their spirituality, to the full being, to the full workspace.
I did, because I was coming in learning the culture, right? And you learn the culture so you can figure out how are decisions made, right? And in that entry point as a new leader, manager right out of college, my career started with Procter & Gamble in 1990, right? And so right out the gate, it was, how do I understand this culture that I'm in? So excited as a graduate of Marquette University, starting my first position with a Fortune 500.
Jesuit University, Loyola here.
Yeah. As a new entry level manager, I was so focused on understanding my job and my culture that I didn't bring my full identity.
I think that's a lot of us, Tanya.
That full identity came. I was so focused on the work.
Yes.
I didn't allow people to get to know me.
So I have to ask this because someone needs to hear this from two women who I'd say have done a lot of things in the corporate realm. Yes, you chose to focus on getting the work and not bringing those other pieces. Do you believe that there was some portion that was like, how did I get here? I didn't grow up with some of this language. I'm not even sure if I can mess something up in this realm that was not the kitchen table conversation, right? I mean, talk a little bit about that, because while I was blessed to have a father who really was my first executive coach and mentor as he grew into executive positions, he didn't start out there. He worked hard to get there.
Yes.
And that set the table in the home to have a language around stocks and bonds and finance. It was not yet understood that needed to be passed down and made palatable and easily understood to the children at the table. Do you
That's
see what I
right.
mean?
I do.
So we learned by watching, not by the test being at the table.
Yes.
So I know for me, there was a little bit of, well, I honestly don't know how much I am supposed to show.
Yes. I had an uncle, and he's still alive. God bless him. My Uncle Jerry. And my Uncle Jerry would tell me, TT, you can't be anybody but yourself, whether you're in the basement or the rooftop.
Go ahead, Uncle Jerry.
So be you. So he told me you were fearfully and wonderfully made. Be you. It's all right. It's all right. You know, I was competitive in high school. I played sports. I played fast pitch softball, and my uncle brought me sliding pads because in Wisconsin, you'd start playing fast pitch softball early spring. The ground was still hard and cold, right?
Yes. Yeah,
And he said,
very hard and cold.
I was affectionately his TT. So that was my nickname, TT. He said, TT, the way you play and the way you go at it, if we don't get you some sliding pads, you're gonna be mixed up by the time you're a grown woman, right? And so he gave me things to protect me, even in that fearlessness of being who I was. So when I got real clear on my identity, I'm okay with being a Black woman.
Yes.
I'm okay with being maybe the only one in the room, but I'm enough because I was fearfully and wonderfully made.
When did you connect that dot, though? When? Like what? At what point?
I believe it was probably my first promotion.
Yeah.
When one of my direct reports was a tenured rep. You know, I started with Procter & Gamble in customer business development. So that's a balance between sales and marketing within a given market space. In this case, it was North America. And I remember my team was all men. They were all white men.
Yes.
And one of them told my VP that they didn't need me to work with them. And then told me. And I said, okay, well, when I need to work with you, yeah, it was old school. I said, well, when I need to work with you, so I'm clear you don't need to work with me. But when I need to work with you, I'll let you know. And in that, because you don't need me to work with you, you know, I invested where the blessing that I brought, because I have a numbers mind. I can read an annual report and dissect it. I can do a strategic map and understand why a particular customer was organized or making the decisions that they were. I could go cross-functionally. I kind of was geeky about it. I liked it. I rather liked it. You know, I still had to keep my cool points because I was raised in the 53206 zip code in Milwaukee, but I kind of liked it.
If you don't know, just know that when you rattle off a zip code growing up in any metropolitan area, there's something about the zip code.
There's something about the zip code. So I rather liked it. And what I realized is I had something to give that could bless them, that could make them better and give us stability, that we weren't just walking on water, we were flying. And when I demonstrated that older gentleman came back to me and said, you good. You real good. I need you to work with me. I said, well, it would be my pleasure.
There you go.
Sometimes you can show them better than you can tell them.
That's exactly what came to mind. That is a perfect example of showing. And so to that early career, young woman, young Black woman, who is finding herself in an environment where she knows she belongs, because let's be honest, that fearfully and wonderfully made message was imparted in so many of us. If you didn't get it in your home, you got it in your church. If you didn't get it in your church, you got it in your family somewhere. Because I believe that unless you had it, you wouldn't have even crossed the threshold of a corporate early start, right?
That's the truth.
You need it. But now that you're there, early career sister, I need you to really hear what Tanya said. Very quickly, she picked up the signals. And there's something about picking up the signals that I think really sets us free. and
Yes.
sets us loose. And that's what your Uncle Jerry said, and that's what you demonstrated in that full circle moment with your colleague.
And he taught me how to play offense. He told me, he said, TT, you got to have a short memory, but play the long game.
Talk about it.
You know, in order to run an offense, you got to have 11 players on the field.
That's right.
And if you're the quarterback, you need somebody to protect your blind side. You can be looking at the field and you may have to call an audible, right? So you got to be real clear on what play you're going to run. And you got to remember first downs matter. And if you get hit, he would tell me you get up quick. If because they going to hit you. And when they hit you, you get up quick. So that resilience, that move forward, because I was just trying to get a first down so I can get into the red zone and get a touchdown. So my milestones, right, you know, wasn't the Hail Mary. It was moving forward. Yeah. So as a Black woman, I learned from my rearing, my early experience, to play offense. Yes. But to make sure I had people around me that could protect my blind side.
Okay, so I'm going to just say, when you got to the place that you knew it was bigger than just you and you needed the blind side coverage, you had to be mid-management.
Yes. I was an associate director of customer business development and had just taken on my first customer team. And the track at P&G is you could do general management within brand, but then also customer business development because customers were becoming just as big as brands.
Yeah, that's right.
And my first top customer team was Walgreens. So it's a team of 35 people cross-functionally, all geared to win there. And my role was to deliver the C-suite. So the chief merchant, the CFO, the chief supply, the CEO. My job in the cross-functional team to the front end of the store to the back end of the store, because we had pharmaceutical, was to deliver that customer team. And the president of our business said to me when I got promoted, because they did an advantage monitor study where they would benchmark how other suppliers were performing, you know, kind of on that playground in the drug channel. And P&G ranked at the bottom. We didn't rank at the bottom in food. We didn't rank at the bottom in mass. We didn't rank at the bottom in club, but we ranked at the bottom in drug.
Wow.
And I was not confused when I was told that got to change. And for the record, you're not growing share. The only reason why this business is growing is because they're opening up a store a day. So I'm getting 10 points on the dollar. If you was growing share, I'd be getting at least 15. So not only do you have to deliver the C-suite, you ain't putting enough points on the board.
I need to see some margin.
So in that respect, I had to sit back and I had to whiteboard. First, I had to get my team to understand the situation analysis that we were not good.
First, you had to accept you weren't good yourself.
Yeah, our results weren't good. I'm acquiring this team, and our results on how we determine or it's assessed if we're winning, they weren't. It's not good. We're not winning. I know y'all think y'all good, but we're not winning. And I don't want to lose. So when I did a situational analysis, if I had my right hand, then I had my true north because, you know, that was given to me.
Yes.
Where are we going to play? How are we going to win? What capabilities do we need? I said, we go into Walgreens and they hate seeing us coming. So the very first thing that I did was a CEO forum. I invited A.G. Lafley to Walgreens.
That is a phenomenal business leader and mind in industry. So, you know, just a subtle little drip. I invited A.G. Lafley, who, quite frankly, became not only the father of the era of growth at P&G, but also when you think about strategy and OKR and O's and R's, I mean, really just kind of set the pace for a lot of that thinking, as well as Jack Welch did in GE, you know, thinking about quality, right? So that's fantastic. Okay, go ahead. I just need the chief seats to know.
It's at the Hyatt in Deerfield, Illinois, right next to Walgreens headquarters. And it was David Bernauer, who was the CEO. It was Jeff Rain. He was the president at the time. It was Bob Crawl, who was the chief merchant. It was George Riedel, who was the EVP. It was myself, A.G. Lafley, Rob Steele, and my vice president at the time, Barb Hartman. And we were at a round table having lunch. And A.G. Lafley came in there very humbly as thank you for inviting me to have lunch. He left out of there like the CEO of Procter & Gamble.
There you go.
And from that moment, when we walked that one lonely store in Deerfield, Illinois, that was next to the headquarters. I had a one-pager that was my strategic plan that would drive us from 600 million to $1 billion in 3 years, because what I had now was alignment.
There you go.
I had it at the customer and I had it internally.
So how did you get that? Bring us to the table. Bring us to the conversation. What was the conversation like? You know, kind of think about being in the room when it happens, right? So a lot of people listening have seen success, but some are sort of wondering, okay, you're going from 600 million to $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
You're at a pivotal point in relationship development and running this as a customer business unit. You have this table of all tables pulled together, right? What was your offensive plays then? How did you get them to hear your voice among the voices and to receive the guidance that you were placing on the table? I know that somebody's curious about this.
We created a value proposition more than just price. So I also went in and understood how Walgreens made decisions. They made decisions by measuring profit for every 10K, profit for every 10,000 shoppers that came in the store.
Okay.
Our go-to-market approach at P&G had always been big box, not small box. When I told you that I'm kind of geeky on some things, I went and spent time in Walgreens distribution center to try to understand why our cost at P&G was higher than the cost of my competitor.
Imagine that. Put a pin in that. Actually going to the field to do the homework. There you go.
So when I went there, I could see that they had multiple touches on our product to put it in a tote. And what Walgreens didn't do, they didn't ship pallets to stores like you get product at Walmart. They shipped totes. And every time they had to touch it to break apart the pallet, to break apart the case, to break apart the inner pack, it was cost. So why would they put us at the front of the store when they didn't make money on us? So when I understood the financial implications, that if I could scale the ability for us to ship to Walgreens in a way that they didn't have to break apart our product, our profit per 10K would go up. And if our profit per 10K went up, I get better position in the store and I could beat my competition. When I understood that and brought those together, I said, there's a way for us to win in the marketplace, because I also knew some of the strategic decisions P&G was going to make. Because prior to becoming that associate director of Walgreens, I was working a beauty care global project. So I knew where P&G wanted to go before they made the entrance to be in beauty care, particularly in places where they had white spaces, right? And so marrying that, I knew it was going to be important for us to win in drug because our portfolio was going to shift. When I could show them both that, one, we're going to invest to win, but if we make investments, I got to deliver a return that's 5 to 1. So Jeff, I know, because I looked at your shopper's basket, that when you have a P&G item in the basket, your overall basket grows.
There you go.
By a shop. So there's more money that you can make with us, and there's more money that we can make with you. Can we devise a plan to win together?
Punchline. When you're looking to grow business, being articulate not just about your point and position and what you need to achieve, but doing the study and the work to be clear on the point and position of your customer and their business, and then doing that legwork to bring it together, that's the wow factor. That's fantastic.
You know, so, Jeff would say, how do you know all of this? I like your people. I don't just meet with you. I knew the guy that was, I knew the evaluator that was cracking the numbers, doing all the analysis. I would meet with him. His name was Doug Egan. I understood when they were making category decisions, what was driving it. And then I galvanized my team that was good. We weren't great yet because we weren't winning. I galvanized my team to say, we can win. All we need is one more item in the basket.
Tanya, so 2 things, team and inspiring that team, right? And also really understanding the customer, both of those things, and knowing that relationship and growing that relationship. What do you think are the key things if you're looking to have an outstanding commercial strategy and understand your customer? What are the things that you think are important for a business leader, a growing business leader in the commercial sense, to really put top of mind?
You got to understand your portfolio and where you make money. You got to understand the customer's go-to-market strategy and how you enable what helps them win. Now, you don't lose sight of who you work for. I never lost sight of the fact that I work for Procter & Gamble.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
I never lost sight of that. But if I understood my portfolio by category, I could be clear on where I made money.
Mm-hmm.
This is a for-profit business. You in business to make money. And if you're not for-profit, you're not for profit. You ain't in business to lose money, then you can't serve the mission. So understanding, right, how you make money or what's needed if you're not in a for-profit to serve the mission is very important. And being able to understand what levers you need to pull to influence that gross margin, to influence your contribution margin, to influence your operating profit and your working capital, and more importantly, your cash flow. Cash is king.
Cash is
If
king.
if you don't understand that, you're kind of hamstruck on what to do. And so you're doing activities versus what I would call impact drivers that get to the outcome.
Wow.
An impact driver is like a first down. You get to those impact drivers, you're going to get a touchdown. A touchdown is cash. Did you make money? So you fundamentally got to understand the construct of your business. And in the book, the workbook that I wrote, I talk about mindset first. My Uncle Jerry gave me that. So we can give a thumbs up. As you said, you knew that before you came. But there are requirements.
Yeah.
There's skill. If you're going to play the game, you got to study it. You got to know it. And you can learn it. I don't know anybody that's not good at what they do that don't like talking about it. So when I didn't know something, I'd find out, well, who really good at this? Inside P&G at the customer. And I'd say, can I have coffee with you? I would be curious. I would be as curious as from here to Sunday. And I wouldn't be hurt if they didn't act like they didn't like me. I didn't care. I need to get the information out of you that I don't know.
You were relentless about getting to the goods, and that's good. And I think that
help
speaks
me understand. Now, at the same time, I believe there was value I could give back. So it wasn't just a take. Sometimes people think you got to arrive before you can give back. I've always had a spirit of help.
Yes.
There's something I can offer and be a blessing.
So did that come to your team leadership? So I want to go back to team because to your point, you received this team, starting point was failure. Vision was towards success. Roadmap was laid and set. Okay, now how do we get the team to see it?
The team was a part of it. When I did my situational analysis, I used the team to validate it.
Okay.
Every coach has a playbook, right? Most coaches come with a playbook, right? So when I'm doing my game plan, when I did the situational analysis, I asked them to validate it. When you watch the tape, is that what you see? Just like you would in football. Did you see it or did I miss it? This is what I saw. What did you see? I validated all of that hand-to-hand, underground, one-on-one work that I did, and I did it in 60 days. I was relentless about getting a situational analysis because by 90 days, we were going to have our plan and we needed to be running plays. So I validated with the team. I said, now, if I'm crazy, I said, now I tell you, I got one or two issues. I ain't got no problems. And I'm going to tell you what my one or two issues are. I'm going to put it on the table. Because right about now, what I got to lose? We lose it. This situational analysis, is this what you see? Is this what you hear when you're talking to your key contacts at the customer? Is this what you all talk about when you leave? Are you seeing the same tape I'm seeing, or did I get it wrong? So once validated with them, it was hard for them to argue with the data they believed.
Makes sense. Then,
girl, you make from a team.
Because I know the people. I know the people. And I think you're so good that honestly, it probably is this easy. However, I also know the people. And there are many times as leaders when we do the things to engage, we set the table, we create the mission forward, but yet not everyone is lined up. There's that 99 that's following, and then there's that one that's going somewhere astray, right? what do you do as a leader to make sure that the head nods and the assumption of agreement and alignment are real?
The words
Right?
and pictures have to match. Their behavior has to match. That's one. You said this, but what did you do?
So say do has to be aligned.
So the words and the pictures have to match. Secondly, when I knew that there was some guys that kind of were maybe on the fence, not sure,
Yeah.
you had to get some ambassadors
There you go.
that could influence them more than just you, right? That it wasn't that they were doing it for hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
That they had others that they could talk to. So you had to get some believers. Everybody wasn't a believer, but you had to have a few that could influence in those conversations that would happen after the meeting, right? And then you gave a chance to dissent. Like, right, when we in this room,
Yes,
we can dissent, but when we leave this room, I got a low tolerance for discord.
that's right.
And I made that very clear as that's one of my issues. Now, we won't agree on everything.
Yeah,
So let's put it on the table now. But when we align to a plan, I'm expecting us to run that play and you play your role.
that's right.
If I find out you didn't, and I used to always say my door is open. If I find out you didn't, I'm going to close my door.
Oof, nothing worse.
So it's a choice.
It's funny because I resemble so much of what you're saying. Of course, I'm listening because I am so excited about your voice coming through and the things that you're saying, man. If you are not understanding how important, and I'm going to say how key this is to success in a corporate journey and experience from early to mid to senior level, then if you don't believe me, then I'm sorry for you. Right? I mean, the conversation that Tanya is vulnerably and candidly having is real. And if you see yourself ascending into corporate leadership, you've got to understand that this combination of know-how that's built on work hard with leadership and understanding how the game is played and how to position the game to be successful, that strategy that she's speaking of, this is something you have to buy in a book to get, and you're getting it in a village. So there you go.
And it's important to understand that those are the things you can't look at it one-sided, right? And that, I told my team, I have one child. His name is Devin Jr., and he doesn't work here. I believe in the adult model. You all are business leaders that I respect, that if you haven't, and I got all kind of energy for getting to understand it. If you don't understand something, I will, after the meeting, spend time with you one-on-one to help you understand, because it's important for you to understand. Then you can clearly make a choice. I don't believe in parochial environments. We're not dealing with kids here.
That's that P&G and GE coming out. Just saying.
So, the accountability can't be there if you don't understand.
Yeah.
And you can't run the play if I didn't write the vision and make it plain.
That's right on.
So when we do that, now you may think that's not the good play, but when we come out that huddle, we come out that room, we called the play.
That's right.
Right? So I don't need no bench warmers. I need people fully ready to play.
Let's go.
So do you want to play to win or you want to keep losing?
Sounds like a book.
It's a choice. But so in this, I don't believe in leading by fear, but respect is important.
Respect it. So let's talk about that a little bit because, in the spirit of Black History Month and bringing forth conversations that are very relevant for African Americans who continue to grow and achieve in corporate spaces. That's one of those things that I think there's still a bit of misunderstanding around sometimes because, and I'm not even going to just give it to African Americans. I'm going to say any diverse population member that shows up in a strong, assertive manner into a majority environment is faced oftentimes with a dilemma of how do I command the respect that should be shown to every authority, period, every authority. And I believe the Word of God says that, okay? So how do you walk that fine line of showing up there and being misunderstood as being aggressive, having a chip, do I dare say bullying, right? Like these are words that I know. And if you haven't heard it, I'm gonna be the first one to tell you. Newsflash, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is not an African American, and I can only speak to that because this is the population that I spent the time asking. There's not an African American leader that I know who has ascended to levels of leadership in corporate spaces and places who is not aware of that fine line. And I think, unfortunately, for some, it keeps them in a space of being way more passive than they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
For others, it sends them out the door because they're just like, I can't even, right? And for still some others, they find a way to ascend, but they certainly are spending the extra energy all the time self-auditing just to be in the environment and showing up the way they believe they need to. And I believe this is a courageous and vulnerable conversation that we're bringing forward, but I do believe that there's somebody that is listening to this that's going to receive how they show up, you know, if you fit that category, or how you are requiring someone else to show up if you're witnessing that category. Can you go there, Tanya?
Yeah, it's real. It's not a figment of your imagination if you're listening, right?
Yeah.
So you're not imagining it. The first thing I say is guard your heart.
Yes.
Don't eat the good or the bad that comes out of their mouth. Secondly, you reap what you sow. Sow respect to reap.
Amen. Regardless of what they're saying
Regardless
about
of what they're saying, you reap what you sow because it's about your intention. Thirdly,
that's right.
protect your peace.
Mm.
Walk in wisdom and don't react in emotion.
That
Protect your peace. I remember telling someone, I'm going to like you even though I know you don't like me.
I've had that
conversation.
I've had that conversation. Thank God.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. No,
it's okay.
And the boldness
I'm going to like you despite yourself.
Yes.
And I'm going to do good to you because I don't mean you any harm. That's a part of protecting my peace. And that's me making a choice and walking in wisdom versus responding out of my emotion.
And that's a basis.
Absent that, I don't need no help to get in trouble because I am direct. I am analytical. I do have a high sense of urgency.
You bring
I like
the goods.
to win.
Yeah.
I like to win. I like people.
Tanya,
right?
These are all great qualities, though.
I don't like mess, though. I don't like mess. Now, I've had some times where, I always say emotional intelligence is important. That's where the protect the peace comes in and walk in wisdom versus reacting in emotion.
Yes.
But there are times where I wanted to snap. I just didn't snap in the ivory towers. Take them off site.
Let's go for a drink.
Let's go to your favorite place to eat.
Yes. And drink whatever you want, but let's just go because we need to talk.
And then sow what you want to reap, right? If I got or something, I'm going to come to you. Then if I come to you, you don't receive me, I'm going to come to you with a witness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to do is get it clear.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
but Tanya, all right. So I got to ask you this because we're in the scrum now. So you go in, you have the offsite conversation. There's not always a readiness for the directness because there's varying levels of being evolved enough personally to receive feedback, even at leadership levels, right? To receive the feedback and to set aside something that you said early on, which is it's not personal. It's not personal, right?
Now, some things, when you're taking someone on, my offsite moments, and I can count them on one hand, in my 35 years of being in corporate America, my offsite moments, they were personal.
Talk more about that.
And so I would even tell them, I want to take you out to drink for a drink or to your favorite place to eat because I want to talk to you about something personal.
Okay.
And when I get the person there, I want to talk to you about something personal. I tell them what I've heard and learned on fact and how it made me feel. And I want to understand why they're doing that. Like, I want to understand why in meetings, when I say something, you take it and twist it and you say something I didn't say. I want to understand when I write you an email and it's clear what I'm doing, you take that and turn it around. But I notice you don't do that with other people. Now, I fashion myself to be a really good communicator. What I can't figure out is why you don't understand the words that I say or write. Now, you've done it and it's it's concerning to me, such that I wanted to come to you directly to talk about it. Can you help me understand how I can better communicate with you that you don't twist what I'm saying and say something I didn't say?
Wow.
And then I pause. So I'm not going to take you off. I'm not going to take you off site and act like I don't have an issue.
Unless it's personal. Okay. I hear you.
Unless it's personal. I'm not playing politics. I'm navigating it. It's a difference. I'm not playing politics.
Okay. I'm not
navigating.
playing politics. I'm navigating it. Okay.
I'm navigating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I only got one hand up.
Tell us the punchline. How has that worked for you? Because
it's worked for me because it's helped me protect my peace.
I think that would have not gone well for me.
One, understand that I've been delivered from insecurity. I'm not walking in that anymore. I did early on in my career. So the belief that I was fearfully and wonderfully made, not just people telling me, but me believing that.
Walking in it. Yes.
And walking in doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I can get things wrong. And if I get it wrong, I'll take responsibility for it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I will say that openly, right? I won't be like, oh, that's a mistake. Be like, no, that's on me. That's on me. That I didn't get it. I missed that one. Or I made a mistake. But my uncle taught me with mindset, you have a short memory. Don't let a mistake stop you from moving forward. So
I love him.
I'm not perfect, but I'm not insecure anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't want to do anything. See, I'm not looking.
But other people are. So this is where I'm trying to unpack this, because yes, check all the things.
But the check isn't a check. It's a mental state of no matter what, this is who I am.
Okay.
And I'm going to face some challenges, but it ain't supposed to wipe me out, right? It's not going to be easy. I'm going to get hit. I'm going to make some mistakes. There are going to be people that don't, it's human nature. So
and there might be some people in the offsite that shut down and don't want to deal with your truth, or choose not to deal with it honestly in that offsite. I think
I've not had one time, because I've only had this many in 35 years.
Yeah, that's good.
Had one experience because my intent going in was to get an understanding. I didn't go in expecting them to admit to a truth, especially if they were lying, because the truth was going to set me free.
That's what's up.
So I went in to get an understanding.
Tanya, say it again. What? Go ahead, girl.
Yeah, I didn't go in. They're not going to always admit that they did something wrong. And if they lying, they will double down on the lie.
They're going to double. Okay, this is why I wanted you to say that. Yes.
They'll double down on the lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
you set a standard. You now have set a standard. And
now,
I think
you might lie, but you might think twice about lying on
that part.
I'm saying they stopped lying. But
okay,
the truth
Tanya,
the truth set me free.
Yes,
and I wasn't trying to shame or embarrass anyone.
Anybody else. That's right. Yes.
Because I didn't do it publicly. I took them off site.
And I think that is important for anyone who's dealing with that and listening to us and nodding their head vigorously to really appreciate, right? There is a level of humanity that Tanya is speaking of in her leadership that allows her to stand on that integrity of acknowledging that my truth is not lining up to this other person's truth. And because I can see it, and because I'm confident enough to know that I can go the first step to reconcile, I'm going to say, come on, let's go offsite. But I also think what I glean from what you said, and it's so important for us not to miss, all of us not to miss, is that when you show up, you're showing up again with that integrity, but you're also showing up with that honesty. That what happens in that discussion is not about shame. It's about convening, converging.
It is. What I learned is when you have that offsite, it's not a judge and jury. Nobody's going to come and say you're wrong. It's more of like an arbitration.
That's right. Love
where
it.
you're coming together. That's different. It's not going to be no judge. It's not going to be no jury that's going to point them out like a hound dog and say you're wrong. It's an arbitration, and something's going to give on both sides. But you can't arbitrate if you don't even know that person's weakness.
That's right.
So when you study and understand, okay, so if I understand your weakness, not to shame you, because remember, I took you off site just you and I. Ain't nobody else in the room. So I know your weakness like a chess move. So if I know your weakness, I can use that to find a place we can come together.
Tanya, girl, we can keep going. And I know we have places to go, people to see, but I need to ask you this question before I let you go. When I say words should do versus called to, should versus called, what comes up for you?
Should do may be my responsibility, something that was assigned to me that I committed to, a principal matter, right, of cause and effect. So I should do this.
Yeah.
Call to is whether I got one penny for it, whether you even said thank you, whether you even knew I did it. You may never know. So when I talk to you about that exchange of me coming in and my first, director level role at Walgreens, in that whole experience, Bob Crawl looked at me after that whole thing happened. He said, how did P&G get you? What I should do was having that CEO form. What I was called to do was be an example.
Woo!
And what I said to him is, I was recruited as an Inroads intern.
Yeah.
He said, what? I said, Inroads intern. It was started here in Chicago in 1970 by Father Frank Carr. It's about business and engineering and putting talented minority youth in corporate America. I did internships. I did an internship with P&G. I was converted as a full-time hire. And Walgreens was in Chicago's backyard. They had 3 interns. They went from 3 to 100. See, that's what I was called to do. So when I brought in Mercedes Lytle, who was the COO of Inroads, to introduce her, and Bob Crawl became the champion and says, we're going to get talented minority youth. They went from 3 to 100.
There you go. Wow.
So that's what I was called to.
That's a calling. And it's bigger than, so the should do is, I should do that. It's a responsibility. But man, when you get to a place when you clearly understand what you're called to do, life takes on a whole different meaning. Even in those spaces and places where you might deal with the tough situation and all the things, there is the responsibility that comes with called to.
Because someone opened a door for me to be an Inroads intern that I never met.
Yes.
That I never met. Right? Someone made that influence, that entrance with Procter & Gamble to be a part of the program that I never met. And then that gave me an opportunity to be hired. So call to is whether you ever know me, you're going to be blessed because I was called to do this. The blessing is walking in the calling. That's because God is going to bless me because I want him to be glorified. So when it's about his calling, it's about God being glorified. Now he can be glorified in the should too as well, because those that are diligent about their business go before kings.
That's right.
But the call to is all about God getting the glory.
That's right on. Tanya, girl, I knew that this was going to be a rich conversation that was going to take a journey between, quite frankly, business, leadership, network, and even self-care, because I believe when you talk about understanding should to and call to, that is taking care of yourself and taking care of your personal business and legacy.
That's why I said protect your peace.
Protect your peace, girl. That's what I'm talking about. You pulled it all together. Look, there is a book. There's a book that you've penned that folks can go to Amazon right now to purchase. I'm going to actually drop a link in the show notes. But go ahead and tell us the title of the book. And I believe it's a workbook. So
it's a workbook.
Excellent.
It's intentional. So it's Grace Moves Inner Court Workbook. It's a marketplace guide for women, but it'll bless the men too. In the workplace. And it's based on 7 practical insights. It's not it's a lived experience. And just like we would sit around, Chantra, on Sundays at the kitchen table that our ancestors could pour into us, this is me sharing what was poured into me to be a blessing to women. And the 7 insights are mindset, requirements, leadership, understanding emotional intelligence, understanding networks, understanding path makers, and how to navigate. real insights, practical insights married by spiritual foundation, right? For me, I've thrived not only because of the God-given talent that he's given me, but by his word that gives me light. And so it's bringing those two together. It's professional development with spiritual wisdom. And it's intentional because we haven't arrived if the person that's on my ladder can't climb it.
That's right on.
Haven't arrived if they can't climb it. So this is my passion. This is my call to.
I was going to say it, girl.
This is my call to, and I pray that it's a blessing. There are going to be some inner court circle sessions that we'll be having in the coming months, but it's a 7-week workbook because I wanted it to be reflective, to mirror where you are, to be thoughtful and intentional. And then I wanted to bring women together in community because I believe iron sharpens iron. So that's why we did the workbook.
Amen. Well, look, I love it. I think it's fantastic work. I'm super excited to introduce it to the Proven Not Perfect Village all over the world. So maybe you don't show up to an inner court because, circumstances just don't allow. But certainly you can get the book and you can be right there smack dab in the middle of it. Tanya, you're beautiful. Your work is amazing. I love you personally. You know that.
I love you.
And I'm so to share this conversation with the world so that these words can take seed in good soil.
Yes.
And amazing things birth, and folks are healed in the areas that they need to be healed, and they're inspired in the areas that they need to be inspired. We have men listening. We have multicultures listening.
Yes.
And I'm excited to be the good steward of having vulnerable and crucial conversations that are fueled by faith, pushing past all fear. I love you, girl.
I love you too. I love you. You take care, and you're in my thoughts and prayers always for nothing but God's very best. And always remember, when grace moves, you move. Grace makes space for you. And when you have that space, you take your shot.
Amen. I'm shooting my shot, girl. Shooting my shot. Proven Not Perfect. That is a wrap. So as you step back into your day, I want you to remember this. You don't need to have it all figured out to be making a powerful impact. Progress matters, purpose matters, and you matter. Thank you for spending this time with me and for choosing to grow personally and professionally. Until next time, lead boldly, live fully, and give yourself permission to be proven, not perfect.